Welcome to Ignite 2.0, the Vodcast by young adults for young adults. My name is Josiah.
My name is Anthony.
And we're the hosts of Ignite 2.0.
Every generation has its challenges in trying to live a Christian life. Our generation may face greater struggles than the previous generation.
Why would you say that?
Because we're exposed to temptations and all types of things that aren't good for us in the palm of our hand, literally.
Right.
Now, today we're talking about a subject that most people are affected by on different levels, and that is social media. Sometimes it's a blessing, and sometimes it's a curse.
Exactly. Many young people are still learning how to handle school, friends, and relationships, and social media can be a double-edged sword. Most young people turn to social media, and it's a huge part of our daily lives. Some people can't go a whole day without posting themselves. But how do you use social media?
For me, I use social media as motivational. I'm a personal trainer, so I use social media to promote my personal training brand, and I try to encourage people to get in the gym and accomplish their goals. What about yourself?
Me personally, I'm a basketball player, so I'll post my highlights there to expose myself. And also I like to check up on my family. You know, when I'm away at school, I get to see my friends and things of that nature. So it's a good way to stay connected. So like when we first started social media, it was just cool pictures, hashtags, you know, things of that nature. We was doing ghost riding the whip, all of that stuff. That's a throwback, I know. Remember Kick?
Man, Kick.
For real. Even TikTok, that's just Vine.
Yeah, it really is.
For real.
Yeah. I agree, man. I think now it's turned a full 360 spin. You know, I think it's gotten advanced, but it's also to our demise because there's so much entertainment.
Right.
And if you don't know how to balance it out, it can really, destroy your life because you're comparing yourself to others. And really it's a false reality because people only post their highlights. They don't post, the real back end work that they're doing to, become a better person. So, it's a blessing and a curse, how far we've came from Vine and Kick to TikTok and Instagram. But man, you gotta be careful.
For real. And I like what you said about comparing your lives to other people's. I think that's a big reason why our generation, why we go what we go through mentally. Because we don't understand that it's a process. Like you said, we just post the highlights, but really it takes a long time for success. I heard this somewhere. They said that we have a microwave mentality, not just we, but social media that can give anybody that,
What do you mean by that?
So a microwave is quick, and that's how we think success is because of social media. We seeing people our age with jewelry, millions of dollars, but God has something else planned for us, So not everything should be quick. Sometimes it's a process. Sometimes you gotta have that Thanksgiving roast that take 8 hours, right. Not the microwave.
Right.
You feel me? So yeah, we have a video from one of our viewers in Atlanta. Let's see what she has to say.
Hi, my name is Jadine Vermey. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and today I'll be talking about the influences social media has on me. So I am a content creator and influencer, so I see social media from both sides. The influencer side being the business side, how it can help you financially, how it can help you build your brand. But I also see it from the consumer side, how toxic it can be consuming all that content for hours upon hours at a time. I will say that social media definitely can influence you, especially growing up in the 21st century. Almost everything we do can be done electronically. I don't have one friend that's unplugged. We're constantly checking up with our friends through social media, seeing what they had to eat, seeing what they're doing in life. We even keep up with celebrities. Consuming this content can be toxic or it can be inspiring. It just depends on the user. I think a very big con of social media is seeing the highlights of people's lives. You're never going to see the times where they were down bad. So it's very easy to let feelings of jealousy, comparison, greed, just all of those bad feelings rise up and make you bitter. But again, you can look at that same content and be inspired and let that push you to do better. The pro to social media is being able to connect with others that you've never even met before on a personal level. You're able to go through experiences with people that you've never met before and not feel so alone in the circumstances that you're in. And even be inspired by others or use social media as a tool to gain information on the things that you want to do and accomplish. From a content creator side, using social media to inspire others to walk with Christ through beauty, fashion, and even just sit down videos is something that I really love. And I know that that helps others. So all in all, social media can be toxic, but when used in the right way, with strategy, wisdom, and discipline, it can be something that's very helpful.
All right, for sure. We'll be right back.
So why would you say that? Because. Why would you say that, Ant? Because. Alright, start over there. Alright. Why would you say that, Ant? I'm not gonna say Ant. Nah, because you. Alright.
You make me laugh, bro. All right, y'all. We're back. Today on Ignite 2.0, we're talking about social media, a blessing or a curse. Our viewer submission today, J. Dean, had a lot to say about it.
We also have somebody else who's going to help us sort it out a little bit. Let's talk to our guest and host and see what she has to say. Tamia Gaston is actually considered a social media influencer. So let's welcome our girl and co-host, Tamia.
Hey guys, what's going on?
What's up, Tamia?
I'm so glad to be here. Jadine, she was right on point. Everything she said, top notch. She hit every point. Social media can be a blessing. It can be a bad thing if you overuse it. So I wholeheartedly agree with everything that she said.
Most definitely. From your experience, what was your blessing and what was your curse?
Ooh. Well, for me personally, I use social media for ministry to guide people to God. So my blessing in it is saving souls. I don't take joy in nothing else. Like, there's no greater joy than saving souls through social media because you never know what people are going through. But the curse side behind it is you always gonna get negative comments. There's always somebody that don't like what you got to say. There's always like people that be trolling and, you know, different things like that. So you always gotta, like my dad tells me, if I'm gonna use social media, just be ready to take the heat because you never know what's gonna happen. Somebody's always gonna have something to say.
Right. How do you find that balance from creating and having, seeing the hate and everything in the comments? How do you use God to find that balance?
Social media breaks, big time. I take a lot of breaks. I just, you definitely got to stay in that word. You definitely got to make sure that you're not just headstrong in social media to the point where you take God out of the situation.
Right.
Because while I'm influencing people, I have to stay plugged into Christ. Or if I don't stay plugged into Christ, like, they're not going to get the message. So I have to make sure that I stay headstrong in God. So if that means taking breaks, like, I got to take breaks. And that honestly helps me to just deal with whoever got something to say, just go to God about it. Because it's all about, like, if God told me to do it, then I'm going to do it. That's it. Like, it don't matter what nobody got to say. And, you know what I mean? It's all about just making sure that you're staying level-headed. Because even though, yeah, like, I'm on the ministry side of things, it's still stuff that we have to deal with behind the scenes to make sure, like, we're good. So taking a lot of breaks helps.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and then that makes me think about Proverbs 4:23, where it says, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it springs the issues of life. So with that, you just got to think, like, social media is kind of like a double-edged sword. Like, you get the blessing side, you get the curse side of it, you get people who talk mess about you, but you also get to save people and help people. And then in one way, it can help you connect with your audience. And on the other hand, for me personally, while it's a great opportunity to connect with people, I can also, deal with, like, self-image struggles and things like that because you see other people on social media maybe doing better, getting more followers, and then you start to question God, like, am I doing this correctly? If you're not ready for it, like, taking those breaks are the best things.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, when your validation and self-worth come from God, it helps you as a person because when people look for it through physical items, you're never satisfied. You're always looking for that next thing, but you'll never get there if you don't sit down and say, okay, God, like, where does my self worth come from? Like, can you validate me? Like, where do I need to do? I think when you ask those type of questions and you really do the self work, I think it'll be better for you.
Absolutely. And John 6:35, it says, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. Jesus uses thirst and hunger to identify the human desire for something. Jesus tells us that all things that we desire, he is more than able to satisfy. And that's such a powerful verse because, like you guys have been saying, Jesus is inside us. He is all the validation that we need. We don't have to go to social media for love, for if we're attractive or not. The Bible says that we're made in his image. So like the verse says, he is everything that we need. He fills up our cup, quenches our thirst. He's everything.
Yeah, I agree with that, honestly. And that was something when I first started that it was a little tough because then, like, when I was first starting, I believe I made my first video around 2020 and it wasn't getting as much feedback as I wanted it to. And then you have the whole issue of, since you're doing stuff for God, if you post something that's controversial, you got people that's backlashing you. You got your own family, they could come in, backlash. And then you have that whole issue like, oh, Tamia, should you have done that? People gonna do this and do that. And it's like, I'm answering to God, you know what I mean? So it's like when you're doing it from that aspect, it takes a lot of allowing Christ to be your true identity. Just like you're saying, like you have no choice to allow Christ to be your identity and to allow Christ to be where you find your self-worth. Else, like, you really shouldn't be on social media because then you wouldn't be able to handle it.
Right.
And then honestly, just thinking about like I was saying, like the comparison side about it, you have so many people, like even myself, I fell into it. Like I see some influencers who they were just getting more likes and more follows, or maybe they looked a certain way and people were more attracted to like the physical look. And then, I had to take a dive into myself, and I'm like, to me, like, if you're not connected to the Lord and if your self-image and your identity in the world is the real reason why you're doing this, then you shouldn't be doing it at all.
Facts.
And then honestly, just remembering like one of my favorite verses, because I struggled with like the battle of the mind a lot. That's something that I'm currently overcoming, especially being on social media. You gotta remember that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, and God comes that you may have life and have it so much more abundantly. So if your main focus, like if you're on social media and you're doing it for Christ, you gotta take out all that outside distraction. If you have one follower, you saved one soul. You get what I mean? So like, you gotta really think like all that matters is that Christ's name is heard, and that's something that I'm learning to do nowadays.
And it's always a struggle because young adults today, we have a problem with just being by ourselves, and that's what we have to do to build that relationship with God, to get that foundation. So when we post Jesus, we don't care what people say because we've already comfortable with ourselves in Christ, like you said, our identity. So, and that's how we resist the devil when he comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think also that verse kind of reminisces in my head because when we're dealing with the devil, he doesn't come like how we think he's gonna come.
Facts,
horn-headed.
Yeah,
evil
trident, whatever.
Right,
Yeah.
he's gonna come at something you may feel insecure about. In some form or fashion. So I think that when you're putting your self-worth and your validation in God, it distracts. I mean, it eliminates all of those types of thoughts that you may have because it's like, okay, no matter what he tries to throw at me, I know where my validation comes from, and I know that even if I got 2 followers or 2 likes, I'm still confident in myself, and I know that I'm doing this for the message and to help people, not for the followers and for the likes. So I think it speaks to what you and Tamia were saying, just in all.
Yeah.
I think it speaks back to when we were talking about a blessing and a curse. I know for me personally, it's more so of a balance thing. So when you talked about, doing it for likes and comments, whatever the case is. For me, on a business aspect, I may need that to generate more customers or more trainer clients. So for me, I kind of have to do a little bit extra or do something that may be uncomfortable to get that attraction. However, I know where my validation and I know where my confidence comes from, and that's through God. So, having that balance is very important because it allows me to still be who I am and post a clip on social media without, feeling insecure about it or worrying about what others think.
Yeah. And honestly, that just like bouncing off of what you said, that reminds me of 1 Corinthians 6:12, where it says, all things are lawful, but not all things are helpful. And my favorite thing that Paul says in the Bible is, all things are lawful for me, but I will not be brought under the power of any. And that just brings me back because it's like social media, if you allow it to be, just like you said, like the devil ain't gonna come all red and the little pitchfork and the horns. Like for some people, he can come through social media as like your TikTok for you page, something you should not be watching. Yeah. So it's like, while I have these things and while the Lord has blessed me to be able to use social media, I'm not going to be brought under the power if I see something on social media that I shouldn't be looking at. I'm like, either I'm reporting it or I'm going to make sure that my page is solely based on the Lord and it glorifies God. You know what I mean? Because he gave it to me and he could take it away. So I consider it a blessing. And yeah, I love what I do in all honesty. It comes with its perks. It comes with its triumphs and trials. But like Paul said, like, I'm not going to be brought under the power of social media.
Another point, when you were speaking on how, the devil may come in different forms of social media, I think it's also important to pray for discernment from God because everything happens for a reason. I believe that. And so you want to have discernment because when you consume certain content, you want to know, like, why is this person saying this or why is this on my page? And I think when you also, pray and ask God for discernment, it'll help you and guide you on this course, on the longer course with social media.
Yeah, very true.
You guys made really good points. And another one that I want to remind you guys is once you post something on the internet, it's there. Even if you delete it, it's still there because people share and videos go viral. You guys already know how that goes. And you guys are content creators. You guys know that your online image is important. Whatever you guys post is going to follow you guys for your career.
Yeah, I agree with that. Honestly, with me, even though I do ministry, like there is certain things that I still want to do. Like I want to be a dermatologist as well. So there are things that I have to be very careful of because, I mean, since the Lord had me like start making videos, my image is pretty much out there for life. So, while I have to do what I feel led to do, I still have to make sure that I'm hearing from God. That's why it's so important to make sure that you stay plugged in with God so that you don't ruin something because you didn't listen intently and you weren't obedient. Because he could have said, do this and you did this, you know what I mean? And then somebody don't get saved in the process, so you just got to make sure, just like you said, like do everything in decency and in order and just make sure that you're portraying yourself the way that you're supposed to.
Yeah. Also, the fact that I have family on there as well. So, I know how my family raised me, and I wouldn't want to put a bad image on my family out there. So it's not. I have to think about more than just myself as well.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
For sure.
I know that my family has put me in the church and raised me through God. So I have to also, project that image.
Yeah, and then honestly, that reminds me of the verse Ecclesiastes 4, verse 9 through 10. It says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. So that honestly reminds me, I know we're talking about ourselves on social media, but honestly, I want to ask y'all, like, how do you guys feel about, having other people around you to uplift you and to help you? Do you guys think that that's beneficial in social media, not just doing it by yourself?
I believe in not having a lot of people. I think you should have 1 or 2 good aces. 1 or 2 good people that are reliable, you can count on, because when you have a large group, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Like Anthony, he's my brother. I grew up with him. Julian, those are my aces. Those are my guys. So you definitely need somebody. Like I know you got some sisters, some homegirls. So you definitely need somebody to uplift you,
Yeah.
hold you accountable. But just one or two.
Yeah, for me, I would say honestly, similar to what Josiah said, but also that one or two people that tell me on social media, like, yo, bro, you inspire me. That's everything for me. Like, I don't even need 100K followers or 100 comments telling me I'm doing good. That one person that says, bro, you inspire me to go in the gym is everything that I need. It shows me that I'm doing my job. And I feel like it's God showing me that, validating me, like, yo, keep going.
Yeah.
You're doing a good job and you're doing the right thing. So,
for sure.
That's what I would say.
So when we come back, we'll be talking about using social media and still following the path of Christianity. You got some time to stick around?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back to Ignite 2.0. Man, boy, are we cooking. You said
Yeah, that was good.
Oh my God. Honestly, I want to ask y'all, like, how do you guys feel about, having other people around you to uplift you and to help you? Do you guys think that that's beneficial in social media, not just doing it by yourself?
Repeat the question one more time.
Welcome back to Ignite 2.0, and boy, are we cooking.
Man.
One thing I can say is that social media is everywhere. Some people use it for business, some people use it for entertainment, or a combination of both.
Right. We had some interesting things that we talked about in this last segment about friendships and who you associate yourself with. That's really important because whoever you hang around, that's going to lead to your actions. And what I learned is you need to have your identity in Christ so you can build your foundation so you can have that balance with social media.
And I totally agree. And there's countless examples in the Bible of friendship that teaches us that our relationship should be heart-centered, loving and committed.
Exactly. It says, finally, brothers, do whatever is true, whatever is right. You guys know we just have to have our mindset to be Christ-like.
Mm-hmm.
As Christians, we have to be mindful of what goes in our ear gate and our eye gate.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Honestly, a phrase that my dad always tells me is that, like, our eyes are recording. So if you're on social media, your eyes are basically recording everything. So you can't get upset if you look at something you shouldn't be looking at, and then you go to sleep or something, and that thought is just playing and recurring in your mind.
Right.
Like, and you got some song playing and recurring in your mind, and you talking about, get behind me, Satan. It's like, no, you did that.
Right.
So it's like, you got to be very mindful of what goes in your mind, what goes in your eyes, because God created us like that so that we could practice self-control.
Yeah, that's funny. My grandpa used to always tell me my ears aren't garbage disposals. And basically what he means by that is, like, don't play, toxic stuff, around me. Like, if I tell you, like, my ears, I want to listen to positivity in my ears, then that's what I want to listen to. I don't want to, any of that garbage coming in my ear, because he understood that those thoughts regulate your mind. And so, yeah, that's funny, because I also had a quote that I always get told. Yeah.
Right. I actually like that point you said about your thoughts, because your thoughts become your actions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're feeding your mind all this negativity or temptation on social media, then that's what your actions are going to produce.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also, too, to that point, but, like, for instance, when we watch stuff, or especially when we hear stuff, we may tell ourselves, like, it's just a song, it's just a lyric, but we have to understand that, like, our subconscious is still listening as well. So, like, what Tamia said, when you have those pictures in your mind when you're going to sleep, your subconscious is listening to that music as well. So even though you're saying it's just a lyric, when you think about, negative thoughts, it's coming from that music. So you have to make sure you keep a balance, like I said earlier. Like, for me, I like to listen to all types of genres. I don't listen to just hip hop. I listen to jazz.
Right.
I listen to soul, old school music. I like to, take it back. All types of things. That way, I'm not just putting negativity in my ear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us today on Ignite 2.0.
Yeah, we hoped you enjoyed our Ignite 2.0 podcast for young adults by young adults. If you would like to be a part of Ignite 2.0, you can record your comments or questions and send your video clip to our Dropbox. Your clip may be chosen and aired in our show. For details, log onto the link on the screen. We'll see you next time.